Good evening. Good evening. Another Sunday evening. I hope everybody's enjoying this wonderful South Carolina weather we have going on right now. Um, we're going to be one more night, hopefully just one more night without Craig. I spoke to him last night, and he's still battling COVID. Was back at either the ER or urgent care last night, so we want to definitely keep our prayers going up for him, and hopefully he'll be getting back to us really soon, and more importantly, getting better soon. So,
Yes.
um, Jeff, as we always do, buddy, how was your week? Started
Oh,
off that way.
another good week, my friend. Another good week. Looking at a long weekend. Tomorrow off. Working in the schools, we get those holidays, so
Yep.
we're certainly thankful for that. 4 day week is always a blessing.
Yes, it is. It's sad whenever you we've talked about this before. You come back from Christmas and you're already looking for a break because that first week back is rough.
Yeah.
Especially throughout the school system. But yeah, same here. Had a great week. You know, Nothing too bad. Seemed like I worked my butt off, man. I was at which for those of you that don't know, when I'm not at Walker Gamble as the SRO in the evenings, I'm actually helping out with working security for the athletics at East Clarendon. So last week with Jonathan out, I pretty much I think I had Monday evening off,
Mm.
and every other day I was going somewhere. So, but hey,
But in my former job, I can understand what you're going through.
yeah,
Seems like you live at school.
we seem to we seem to used to end up at the same places a lot of times.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I know. So all right, so another great week. Well, some would say great week, some would say probably not so great for the Tigers. Um, let's start off with the biggest topic of the weekend. Okay, as we all know, as of Friday, it was it was made known that it sounds like Luke Farrelly, the ACC freshman defensive player of the year, who had committed to Clemson, and by all accounts, I mean, from where everything I've seen, not only he had committed, he was already in class, was
Mhm.
attending classes, was participating with football activities, and decided on Friday that he wasn't going to honor that commitment any longer, and wants to jump back into the portal, and you know probably from all accounts will end up at Ole Miss. So, um, you know, I, I've had mixed feelings about this thing since it came out, and I'll ask you yours first. Um, and then I'll give you how I feel about it. So,
Well, I will tell you this. I- I've always, in years past, I've kind of leaned on the side of the kid, especially when there wasn't a whole lot of money involved, there weren't contracts involved. You're talking about 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids, and I know as as a kid that age, I didn't half know what I wanted to do and would change my mind in 2 seconds. But here's the problem: we've entered a world where these guys are multimillionaires in some cases. They are making big money. So
mhm,
they have left the kid world and they are in the adult world.
mhm.
And when you enter that, uh, as far as I don't have much sympathy for folks that are staring at that. And I'm gonna, just being quite frank. I don't put a whole lot of stock into looking back for a kid and saying, yeah, you might have made a bad decision or what you thought was one, but you're making big money, so you signed a contract. It might be time to hold your feet to the fire on some of those things.
I can
Um,
see that. I can
and
see
I
that.
know I know Clemson's called in legal counsel, and they are. probably going to comb through everything they can and see exactly what the next legal move is. And I know how a lot of those cases work. They start looking at lawyer bills and they start weighing what can we get. This might be one where they look at a lawyer bill and say it might cost us more to go down this path, but it
Mhm.
might be worth it in the long run to take the loss on that side to establish precedent.
Precedents.
Yeah, and then
Yes.
when you add, uh, and being a Clemson fan, I always thought I know that there's a, uh, uh, kind of a cesspool at the bottom of college football. It's been that way from the beginning on to now, and I
Yeah.
think everybody in some form or fashion dabbles in that,
Hmm.
um, especially if you're going to win at the highest level. But I think Clemson, and this is on a scale. I don't think over the Dabo years that we have been deep into that cesspool, Freddie.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we've been relatively clean, not
Hmm.
perfect, but relatively clean throughout these years.
Hmm.
And to come and start nibbling in our backyard, so to speak,
Yeah.
I think that's in some ways can be dangerous for some folks.
Hmm.
And of course I'm talking on a um, on a scale of rule violating and those types of things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's what I told you earlier. I was really impressed with, I think it was David Hood's article about,
Mhm.
you know, eh, the one team that you didn't really want to do this to would be Clemson because of Dabo's, history, and
Yeah.
he doesn't have the skeletons that, others do, like Lane Kiffin and
Yeah.
other coaches. Okay. And hey, my way of looking at it is, you got yourself into this thing, man. You know, you got to take what comes, as a punishment goes. Now, I will tell you that for me, um, the way I've looked at it is, and I agree with you that now that they're being paid, they're no longer looked at as kids.
Yeah.
Okay, we get that, but at the same time, what I've asked several of my friends when they brought up that, you got to blame this on the kid, okay, or you got to blame this on the player. All right, I guess my way of looking at, and we're just gonna use imaginary numbers, okay,
Mhm.
because neither one of us know what the kid was offered at Clemson or what he's actually been offered, other than what we've been, kind of roundabout told, okay, or heard. All right, so if you were, let's say, let's go back in time. You're 18, 19, 20 years old.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm sure you remember your first job out of college,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. So let's say you take that first job and you get there and you're just coming out of college and you take this job, and then um, Joe Blow down the street realizes that you just come out of college and they go, "Hey, you're going to be making $350,000, and you're going to have your education. That's great. Yeah. How about if we offer you 2 million
Yeah.
and we pay any cost that it costs for you to leave there and come to here? We'll send a moving van. I mean, you tell me, what's your answer going to be?
Oh, that's going to be hard to turn down, and
And
most 99% of people will take it. I
yeah,
I get that side of it, um,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I do hope Clemson enforces as much of that contract as possible because
Oh,
it
me
is a
too.
contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that part of it, and honestly, with coaches, in a lot of cases, they do the exact same thing. They'll have workarounds and ways out of those contracts,
Hmm.
and I get that side of it, um, but I do want to see somebody at some level and some point, and I think we almost had that case with the quarterback from Washington,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
that when he attempted to do the same thing, and I think ran into a little bit of a legal buzzsaw and backed off of that part. But
Yeah, that one
some,
was interesting.
yeah, there, there's going to have to be something that will bring some a little bit of order to this chaos. The NFL, I mean, and those are pros across the board. I imagine those folks look at college football and just they're astonished in some ways, probably laugh in some ways, because it's just pure the Wild West, man. It is
well, and don't get me wrong, I get that you have 4 or 5 years in college generally, okay, generally speaking. All right. But at the same time, you know, players in the NFL right now have got to be going, y'all have got to be kidding me. We're having to sign multi-year deals and have to stay at this place. And these cats are getting to sign a 1-year deal, making more money than we're making. And at the end of the year, they either get to get more money or they go somewhere else. Yeah. And I'll even go a step further. Think about it this way. Coaches, like, let's say Davo's getting $11 million a year, okay? But to buy him out, you're having to pay 60-some million, I think it is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Players, on the other hand, are averaging $2 to $5 million, and they can go somewhere else next year without any kind of buyout. You know what I'm saying? Without, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like there's got to be some way to put in that contract that, you have to, well, for instance, and I can tell you that we were told when I first started, keep in mind now, I started in 97 at the sheriff's office. And I was told, once you get through the academy, you have to give that place that you work 2 years, which wasn't true. Okay. Yeah. But I feel like something similar needs to be put into place. If a team like Miami is willing to put $10 million into a quarterback, part of that money, in my opinion, should go to the university that they just stolen from. That fair? I mean,
it is. And Freddie, I think college football is they're trying to walk a tightrope. They want to pay these kids like employees, but they don't want to get into the game and get into the business of employing these kids. And it's creating a mess. The NFL, they collectively bargain the parameters of those contracts. And there's nothing like that in college football. But I will tell you this, and I fully believe this, that if they don't do something to rein this stuff in, they're going to start losing fans. They're going to start losing people like me. And once we start taking our eyeballs off the screen and going to games and those types of things, just because of this kind of foolishness, when you've got a kid under contract that you fully believe, and you start to become fans of that kid and that team, and the rug's pulled out from under you without any kind of warning and that's the type of stuff that's going to turn people off, and college football will be getting away from its roots. And I was thinking today of a parallel in sports like that, and the one that really comes to my mind is NASCAR. I think years ago NASCAR was, it was wildly popular, and they raced in tracks like Darlington, and they stayed with their roots. And then when they started to branch out, I was a fan of NASCAR, not so much today. And
when they started going out to California to race and stuff, and took one of the races from Darlington away, I felt the same way, and that's kind of when I kind of backed away from it myself. It just, and I agree, I do. It's sad because one of my buddies said that he had seen over the weekend or at the end of the week where a bunch of fans were claiming they were going to stop sending their money to IPTAY and stuff like that. And I get it. I understand that. The problem that I see there is that's only going to hurt Clemson in the long run. It's not going to help, or it's not going to hurt the NCAA or, college football as a whole or anything like that. And the sad part is, the ones that need to do something about it really can't.
Yeah.
They lost that ability whenever they played bullheaded and let this thing go to the judges and the lawyers and
Hmm.
um, kind of like it was pointed out I think it was Friday. It was pointed out, by another buddy of mine that keep in mind that the NCAA has lost every lawsuit they've gone up against with this. So they're pretty much at a point where they're scared to even try to say anything, and
Yeah.
you know um,
But you look at the setup. If you were to just wipe everything off the map today and rebuild it from the start, you would have nothing close to what we have
oh, no, no,
in
no,
place today. So
I totally agree.
that
um,
that is wild that we've let it get this far. And Freddie, I'll tell you this: I made the statement a little bit ago about losing fans.
mhm.
Um, Clemson ain't gonna lose me. I'm gonna try to go to games as
Oh
much
yeah,
as I
oh
can,
yeah.
and I'm gonna watch Clemson. But it's me watching Monday night
Hmm.
that this kind of stuff, especially with Miami. Now I
Yeah.
was kind of pulling for Miami, but that mess that they're pulling with the kid from Duke, that stuff turns me off. Ole Miss, same way. Now
Yep.
I felt bad for them with the way Lane Kiffin was pulling those assistant coaches and doing those things.
Mhm.
I don't have any sympathy for them now.
I don't either.
They're in the same level of low lives of college football that Lane Kiffin's at. I
Yep.
mean, that's just
Yep.
that's just the way I look at them now, pulling that kind
Mhm.
of mess.
Well, and I'll be honest with you. I'm in agreement with some others that I put a lot of respect into some people, in it that deal with Clemson and stuff like that. Others, I listen to them, I pay attention to them, but I don't put as much I guess I don't have as much respect. Nothing bad towards them, but there are a few that I haven't, and those are saying right now that as Clemson fans, it is not a good idea to be pulling for Miami, even though they're in the ACC,
Hmm.
because just like you just said, you see what they're doing with that. Well, keep in mind if they win, every bit of the money that they get goes to them, not to the ACC, not to Clemson, not to North Carolina, anywhere like that. And if they're already spending that kind of money for a quarterback for next year, then just think about where they're going to be at, if they win the national championship. I mean, it gets harder and harder for teams like Clemson who don't have, um, you know, I, I, NFL stars,
Yeah,
like Ray Lewis and Michael Irvin, and people like that. I mean, it's a lot harder for Clemson. So,
yeah.
you know, um, I just my question is, you know, how much further can it go? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, last year we kind of asked the same question, but keep in mind also that I saw a report earlier where you've got a bunch of players that have gone into the portal and have now gone back to their original schools asking them if there's any way they can come back.
There's no spot.
Um, yeah, I mean, one of one of the ones I thought was really kind of funny was Keith Adams leaves here um, because he claims he's not getting used enough and wasn't, you know, featured enough, and he's going to a G5 school. I
Yeah.
mean, it ought to tell you something, man. I mean, it just so um, I don't know. I don't know how much further because I'm like you. I think they're walking a very thin line here.
Hmm.
Um, before it just bust. I mean, there's just you know, I can't imagine being a college student and being offered $1 million to come play football somewhere. That
Yeah.
just um, and there again, we talked about it before. You got NFL players who sign uh, a free agent contract. They're making 850 to $900,000 if they make the team,
Yeah.
and you got college football players that are making millions for a year, and that money's guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, uh, I don't know. We could talk for hours on this same thing. I'm sure.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
it just I hate it because I was actually looking forward to seeing what Luke Farrelly and Sammy Brown could do as a. I mean, I really truly when I heard that it felt like we had one of the, if not the top, one of the top duos at linebacker.
yep.
Going into the 26th season, and it just you hate it. That's the thing. Now, I guess that leads us to this next question. Um, does does Clemson try to go after another linebacker, or through the portal, or and for that matter, what linebackers are left in the portal?
Yeah.
That would be the two questions that you could look at now. Um,
I mean that's the big question. Is there anyone there? You're probably not going to find anybody the caliber of Forelli, but do you go try to get a body and maybe develop somebody or something? Freddie, at this point, I don't know.
well,
I mean,
I feel like if there's anybody in the portal, I believe you've got to try.
yeah,
And I say that because, kind of like we looked at with defensive end and defensive tackle, we needed, people to come in and, you know what I'm saying? We saw how it was being so thin, at these positions. And with us losing, who we lost, I mean, I just feel like we've got to try to find somebody. Um, whether we do or not is, nobody knows. I
yeah,
I saw where the linebacker from Tennessee has hit the portal, and I just don't know that. I'm questioning whether or not we will have the funds to really. I know our name's linked there. Okay,
yeah.
I'm trying to remember what his name was. Give me.
I saw who you were talking about. I'm
Yeah,
drawing a blank on the
I
name,
am too. Um,
but
let me see.
I guess you get in there and you take a swing and kind of see where it is at this point. But
Yeah.
um, the timing of it uh, was pretty bad. I mean, you a couple hours before the portal closes and the stuff starts shaking out.
Arion Carter.
Yeah,
That's his name.
Carter.
I just don't know that we're going to have the funds to compete with the other teams that are vying for him. Yeah,
Yeah,
there again, who knows? I mean, that's um, I just going to be interesting. I believe. I do believe that
yeah.
you know the next few days are going to be very very interesting. I also saw where the defensive tackle from that claimed he was going to Nebraska. Evidently, he never signed,
Hmm.
and it's looking more and more like he's going to sign with us, which is another huge get. I've heard several things. One of the things I heard was that they did not live up to what they promised him, which is interesting to me. I'd love to know what that was.
Yeah, yeah. How many of
Inquiring
those?
minds.
How many of those details come out in the wash at some point?
Yeah,
I mean, you don't
yeah.
know.
Inquiring minds would love to know. Um,
Definitely.
what I also saw just before we came on, where three-star Cam Bivens, a wide receiver, has joined the 26 class, which is yeah, look like you and I talked about. It could be a developmental player, but when you got Naheem Burrows and Connor
On
Salmon and
Salmon, yeah.
Gordon Sellers, I mean, to
That's a
go
pretty
along
good
with
class.
what we already have,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Um,
Freddie, we were talking off air a little bit ago, and I was just reminiscing. I mean, this used to be one of the hot weekends of
oh
the
yeah,
year with
oh
the old
yeah,
February signing day. I
yep.
mean, you were locked in on these last few official visit weekends, and
Mhm.
uh, I, I honestly, part of me misses those days. That was a
Yeah.
whole lot more fun tracking than all this millions of dollars tied to the transfer portal.
I'm telling you, man. It's just, yeah. And who would have thought, because I can still remember people talking about when the portal and, the NIL began, everyone's like, yeah, it's going to be a lot better than just a couple of teams throughout the country being able to spend a bunch of money underhandedly. And I'm like, um, so what you were claiming they were doing underhandedly now can be done out in the open.
Yeah.
You know, makes you think about it now and go, how'd that work out for you? Because it is what it is, man. Like you
Yeah.
said earlier, it seems to be the wild, wild west, and you know, eh, you almost got to rob a stagecoach to be able to fund your football team.
You are right. I mean,
So,
I,
you know,
I think in some ways this just adds to the legend of Nick Saban.
yeah,
If you think about it,
yeah,
he dominated college football for a while, and I got all ideas. He looked at this stuff on the horizon, what was coming up, and said, "Well, no part of that.
yep,
That's going to be a mess." And he went off to game day, and I mean, he's sitting pretty right now. I imagine he foresaw all of this. Now,
yeah,
the next thing, if somebody will hire him and put him in as the commissioner and let him straighten this mess out, he'll be the only one on the Mount Rushmore of college football at that point.
yeah.
This is a dog mess.
I'm telling you, man. Well, and you know, I don't know. It's almost scary when you think about it. Um, it just. It, I have when you join a bunch of different Clemson groups on Facebook. A lot of times, one of the questions will be, you know, who is your favorite Clemson football player of all time? Um, think about it this way. I can tell you right now, my favorite Clemson football player of all time, and I've told him this to his face, is LaVon Kirkland. I grew up watching LaVon Kirkland. I will never forget the game he had against Major Harris when,
Oh yeah,
Major Harris's mom was
go
on the
get my
sidelines
baby.
begging him to get it. They go kill my baby. They go kill my baby. I mean, and keep in mind now, for those of us at East Clarendon, Lamar is not a place you don't pull for Lamar football. Okay, so let's get that out the way there. That's not, used to be one of the big rivalries, not as much so much now, but I even sent him spent a few years ago now. I had to go over there for a volleyball match and we won the volleyball match and I took a video of his football jersey in the rafters and then
Hmm.
showed him the score and he got a good kick out of that one. But the thing that I'm looking at now is how will kids growing up going forward be able to answer that question? I mean, do you go with, oh, I'm a fan of so and so because he played at my university or played for the team I like one
Right.
year?
I mean, it'll be more like a professional model. I mean, you don't you'll see some people that get attached to players. I see that with a lot of professional. Uh, some people who call themselves pro fans. They get attached to players and they'll have the hat of the team that player's with, and then they move and they pick up the hat of the other team. I mean, it's you could easily see that. I don't
Yeah,
know though, Freddie, because it is in a lot of cases a tie to a university. Uh,
yeah,
we may see uh, some fraying of that because
mhm,
simply because kids will move around a lot now.
yeah,
But I do think uh, it'll be kids will be more tied to the memories that they have going to
mhm,
games and doing those things. Um, I mean, instead of maybe players and those things, it'll be the experiences.
yeah,
And I was thinking today, about the 2013 Georgia game. I remember that like it
I do too.
was yesterday.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, that was just one of those experiences that I treasure.
Yeah,
Going and being a part of that.
man, I'm telling you. Yeah, we could, and that's probably something we're gonna get into over the summer whenever there's some dead time.
Yeah.
I was saying that thing the other day. We'll probably, you know, and we still are hoping that some people start chiming in more often. I know tonight's a rough one because the 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 NFL playoffs began today at 3:30, and then the last game of the day it was at 6:30. So it was. We've been trying not to compete with the NFL with our show, um, but at the same time, what much we're going to be able to do today other than what I'm saying, just go keep full speed ahead. Um, but you know, look here, we would love to hear stories that some of our listeners or some of our viewers have experienced in Death Valley, and you know the Gator Bowl in Florida, the Citrus Bowl in Florida.
Oh yeah.
um Man, I know I've got numerous stories, some of which are a little embarrassing, and others that I would love to tell forever. You know,
Yep.
um, now I've never gotten in trouble. I've never done anything that I can't remember what I did. My embarrassing stories are more so things I did as a kid. I made a mistake on, and you know we regretted it. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah.
So, but speaking of some funny stories, I don't know whether you saw this, and I'm sure you did. South Carolina House of Representative Gerard Howard recently faced a reprimand during a legislative session for repeatedly discussing the University of South Carolina Gamecock football team struggles. They claimed he went off topic from the budget debate. That's what the debate was about budget. Okay. I wondered that, but he was told to stay on topic and not talk about the Gamecocks football, even drawing comparisons to Clemson's success, which he got wrong, by the way. He said Clemson has two national championships and they have three. Okay,
Yeah.
we had, but he also went on to say in that thing, if you have not seen it, I'd suggest anybody going
Oh
and,
yeah.
and watching it because it is funny.
It
Um,
is.
he even mentions in it that he is not a Clemson fan. I would love to know who he's a fan of because he knows enough about football and the NIL, but I did get a good laugh about they're never gonna they'll never get their stuff worked out. I mean, you know, and I can just see some of my Carolina friends going, as much as I hate to admit it, he's right.
Oh yeah.
You know, and
Realistic.
then and look, and then going straight to Facebook, going, he's an idiot. Not no typing it in. And you know him. You know what I'm
Oh
talking
yeah.
about.
Oh yeah.
But
I just want to know, can I vote for that guy?
yeah, I'm
He's
trying to figure
almost
out
got
if we
my
could.
vote.
Yeah, mine too. Um, you know, you know,
Now I'm gonna have
it,
to add that to my list of things that politicians can do to win my vote. I've
yeah,
always said if you can find one that can stop robocalls, they got my vote, no matter
uh,
what. But you
mine
add that
too.
to the list
Oh
because I
man,
want to
look,
vote for.
my daddy gets 100 of those calls a day.
Oh man.
He literally he counted on the other week, and I'm like, yeah, if we can figure that one out, then
Hmm.
he'll get Daddy's vote and mine.
Yes.
But yeah, um, look, I've seen it. I won tickets to see um Darius Rucker when he was in Columbia. This was during their 5 game streak, and he berated a Clemson fan down in the pit so badly that Gamecock fans around me were upset because he was doing what he was doing. Um, I've seen others, you know, not as much. I guess maybe I didn't notice it as much. Um, I saw Josh Turner at Tigerama. The
Hmm.
first time I ever saw him, and he had he had some pointed things to say about the Gamecocks. I don't believe I've ever seen, though, until now, anybody like this, like a representative or anybody like that, that has, been so adamant about it. I don't know. All I can say is somebody at Carolina really, really peed in his cornflakes,
Oh
man.
yeah,
I mean,
they got him. And to not be a Clemson fan too.
yeah,
You gotta get it if it's coming from a Clemson fan.
and I will say, I've had Gamecock buddies of mine ask me since it's all happened. Oh, he's got it. No. Because like I said a minute ago now, if he was a Clemson fan, he would not have gotten it wrong and had 2 instead of 3 because Clemson fans know how many national championships we've got in football.
Oh, definitely. Yes, you don't miss that.
No. But look, it's funny. We get a good kick out of this stuff. Especially whenever overall everything's going pretty good right now. We talked about it last week. I mean, hey, the basketball team they beat Boston College and I think, I'll be honest with you, I think a lot of people were concerned that there was going to be a little bit of a lull there. They may not, and that's been Clemson's MO. We would get off to a great start even in ACC play, and then let somebody like Boston College beat us, and then it would lead to another loss, or but not only did they beat Boston College Tuesday night, that game really wasn't. I mean, I thought I saw at one point in time Boston College using the sandstorm thing, trying to wave that white flag thing, man. I don't know. It looked bad. So, and then of course everybody was expecting that Miami basketball game yesterday, and I'll be honest with you, Miami made a run late in the game, but I never felt yesterday like Clemson wasn't in control. Did you get to watch any of that game?
I did. I watched it, Freddie, and same thing. I mean, pretty well from the start. Looked like we had control of the game, and there's some ebbs and flows. A team will make a run, but they never got it to that point where you can kind of get it around 2 possessions. They were never able to get to that point. We always had a big response.
Yep.
In a moment where it looked like they may be able to hit another basket or 2 and tighten it up, but yeah, those guys. Brad Brownell is working on a statue, my friend.
Oh yeah,
he is working on one.
Yeah.
If he can go win an ACC tournament, man, he may just have cemented a statue at that point.
Well,
that's around too, though.
I was watching that game yesterday, and we went into that patented non-scoring drought. And all I could think about was a few weeks ago, whenever Greg and those were on the show with us, and they were pointing out, hey, it happens to everybody, and I'm sitting going, just seems to happen to us a lot more. Yeah. But like you said, as close as they got was 5, and they had 8. They had a chance to make it a 6 or a 5-point game. Yeah. And not only did they not do that, the next thing you know, I'm talking about just in a minute, it was a 14-point game again. Yeah. And that was pretty much the end of their run. I mean, it just I was impressed also. They said that after the game that I think Miami's coach stated that they weren't expecting us to be as physical as we were, which has always been a thing that I think a lot of fans have wanted to see with Brownell teams is be more physical. So here's a lot of things to be happy about right now.
Well, the thing Brownell has is he can roll those guys off the bench. Mm-hmm. I mean, you see it game after game. Somebody's got the hot hand, he'll ride them, and then he'll roll some other guys in and give that hot hand some minutes. I mean, he's got some interchangeable parts.
That's right.
That he can move in and out and go with what's working.
Well, and one of the things that and I'll never forget when we made our Sweet 16 run, the last Sweet 16 run we made, they talked about how that team went as far as Chase,
Yeah.
went. Um, you know, Chase Hunter was, that was, and right now, I don't think you could say that about any player on that team.
No.
Okay. Like you said, I think it was Welling had the hot hand yesterday.
Yep.
Um, you know, Nick
Davidson,
Davidson
game
had it the
before.
other day. I mean, but then at the same time, you've also got stable like Dylan Hunter who can hit free throws at the end of the game if you
Yeah.
need him and isn't scared of taking that big shot. So, yeah.
I think he may be the one kind of the most indisposable
Yeah.
because he maybe not from a scoring perspective, but I think he's able to in some tight moments bring some calm, uh, even if it's not
That
scoring the basket.
experience.
He gets the ball where it needs to be,
Yeah.
and will give guys an opportunity to make some plays. So he may be the one. And you saw last year. We're rolling along. He gets hurt in the ACC tournament,
Yep.
and we're lost in that
Yep.
first round of the NCAA for about 30 minutes of that game. Made that late run at the end, but
Yep.
he may be more valuable than we really look at a score sheet and say
Yeah.
that he is. But
Yeah.
I hope
I
we
would
don't face that type of situation where we got to play without him.
Yeah, I agree. I would have loved to have seen what could have happened if RJ Godfrey had stayed instead of going to Georgia for that year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would have been interesting to me. But yeah. Matter of fact, another buddy of mine and I were talking yesterday, I think it was, and it's sad because Brownell, he doesn't seem to get the credit that he deserves. Keep in mind that this is the same guy that, just a few years ago, most Clemson fans, or I don't want to say most Clemson fans, a number of Clemson fans wanted fired on the spot. Okay.
His seat was scorching hot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Even if it wasn't out in the world of basketball, it was at Clemson.
Oh yeah.
And see, a lot of people don't realize either that, the common fan doesn't realize that, or how far behind Clemson has been with basketball facilities and stuff like that. Yeah, they spent millions of dollars a few years ago to try to renovate Little John and stuff like that. But at the same time, even after that, they were still, they've still been behind when it comes to most of the facilities in the ACC. It just it's scary to think of what he could do if he had facilities like North Carolina or the Duke, or I don't want to say the Duke or Duke, and places like that. I mean, So, hey, maybe in our lifetime we'll see it. I don't know.
Well, always doubt. I didn't know if I'd ever see a win at Chapel Hill. So
very true. I think we all felt that way.
And he accomplished that. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to cut those nets down at the ACC tournament one day. I want to see that.
And we talked earlier, and I'm going to go back to it on a little bit different note because the player doesn't have anything to do with Clemson, but it does go into what we talked about as far as players making the money they're making. Okay, they were having the press conferences and stuff for the national championship game, and one of the reporters asked Carson Beck if he went to class the day before. And his answer pretty much tells you where college football is at right now.
Yeah.
He was like, class? Man, I graduated 2 years ago, man. What? No, I'm not going to class. I mean, I can remember, that was one of the things that you heard about was how they had to balance, football with class and stuff. And now you've got players that are, they're graduating and then they continue playing for 2 more years. I mean,
well, Freddie, I can speak for a couple Clemson football players. They do go to class. My daughter has a class with a couple of them. she's at Clemson now, and
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
that was the first thing when she started looking at her schedule and looking at. I guess they can see the roster of who all's in the class. She saw those email addresses and said, "Dad, I got so and so here."
You need to get her to get them on with us, man.
I'll make that plug with her. She said she's watching, and she's been on me, Freddie, about saying one thing about the biggest complaint that she has about the football players is the scooters that they ride through campus.
Look, my nephew was there when Hunter Renfro was there. All right, and Uncle Freddie, he said, that's all Hunter Renfro rode was a scooter. He said everywhere he went across the campus. What I thought was funny, and I may have told it already, but back when my granddaddy Green turned 90, we went up there and we were able to get a video from Dabo. We got a video from the fire department up there telling my granddaddy happy birthday. And the one person that we were trying to get, we didn't know if we could get him, was Deshaun Watson, and found out something up there then that I didn't know at the time, that the practice facilities where it's at, but their locker rooms all the time, their everyday locker rooms are at Death Valley. They're in Memorial Stadium.
Right.
So they would go to football practice, then catch a golf cart back over to the football facility, to the stadium, change clothes. And Deshaun Watson comes out, and we're standing there, and I'm like, hey, DW, I said, man, can I get a video? He says, man, he said, sir, I hate to rush. He said, but I've got to get to a Heisman thing, and I got to catch a ride, man. And this cat's yelling at him in a pickup truck. He says, you need that ride still? He said, yeah, I do. I said, look, my granny's turning 90 tomorrow. I said, we just come up here. He said, 90? I said, yes, sir. He said, you said Clemson a lifetime? Yeah. He does the video with me. I still had the video and everything on, saved. He does the video, and then as soon as he does the video, he picks his stuff back up, runs over, jumps in the back of a pickup truck, and is headed across town to do Heisman promotional that the school had set up. I'm thinking to myself, dude, you're our chance at a national championship. You're trying to get the university its first Heisman trophy, and the Cats can't even get you a ride across town, man. Come on here.
Oh gosh.
So, but yeah.
If he played in the NIL era, he wouldn't have to worry about a ride anyway.
Oh my gosh. Well, and there again, that was something else somebody else brought up earlier in the week. Would he have been at Clemson if he'd have been playing during the NIL era? Good question. Would Trevor Lawrence have been here if that had been the case? Another good question.
Yeah.
The good thing for us is we don't ever have to worry about knowing those answers.
Nope.
2 national championships later, they're both, still in the NFL and hanging in there. So,
yeah.
Well, buddy, we have gone over. I did not see us going over tonight because we didn't have a lot to talk about other than Pirelli and Ole Miss, but
yep.
we have filled the time slot even further than I thought we were going to. Like we always say, we hope y'all will like and share the Facebook page, or excuse me, friend us on Facebook, like the video, share the video, subscribe to our YouTube page. Also, I think I did it the other week, but I'm not positive, so I want to give a shout out to Miss Tammy Crow. She is the nice lady that helped us get our logo together because this old guy was having a rough time with it, but she helped us get the first one, and she has helped us update it to when we put when we added our newest partner, Jeff, there onto it. And so we want to thank her. Hopefully we will have another great week, and until next week, y'all, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.